Steve Cooper, Rank Success, and this is another video in a little series of videos I'm making for people preparing for police promotion to sergeant or inspector during the lockdown period. So again, just another short video to share some thoughts to help you prepare and to trigger, support and respectfully provoke some thinking. This video is about competencies, and that's really important because it's competencies that are being assessed in your police promotion process. And often I find that people don't know what kind of interview it is that they're going to face. Well, the answer to that is it's a competency based interview. You may also have done a competency based application previously, so you might have an idea of what it's about. But competencies are how organisations describe how they want their people, their employees, their staff to behave. Now, competencies are one name for what they are, and technically that's the correct name for them because there are some technical aspects around competencies, but they are also the knowledge, skills, attributes, behaviours, personal qualities that are required to perform in a certain rank or role, so sergeant or inspector. And if you're unlucky, you might see all of those names, all of those terms used in your promotion guidance, instructions that are provided. So for me, a little tip that I share with people from time to time is to think of them only as behaviours. Just think of them all as one name. So competencies are behaviours. It is a behavioural interview. Sergeants and inspectors are expected to behave in certain ways. And those behaviours that are tested form the basis of interviews and other parts of the selection process. Now, the competencies in the CVF, there are six in the PPF, and so the 6 in the competency and values framework. We're emotionally aware, we take ownership, we're collaborative, we deliver, support and inspire, we analyse critically, and we're innovative and open-minded. So 6 competencies, and people say, well, I don't know what questions I'm going to be asked or how they're going to be asked. I always say, well, what is your best example of when you've demonstrated those competencies in the workplace? Write them down. Let's have a structure to them. Let's have a story, as I featured in one of the other videos. So that's a good start without knowing the exact questions you're going to face around the competencies. On the policing professional framework, if that's the competency that your force uses, there are again 6 behaviours, and they are called personal qualities. So again, it can be confusing when you start hearing the different names to them. And the 6 competencies there are, or behaviours there are: public service, leadership for people, performance and change, professionalism, decision making, and working with others. So as you can see, there's quite a few competencies that are used. I would always encourage you to look at the behaviours, the competencies that are used in different forces. So look at both of those frameworks. You'll find it quite helpful to pick up perspectives around what competencies are, and to put that into a certain scenario. If I was to walk down the street and bump into a PPF sergeant or a CVF sergeant or a PPF inspector or CVF inspector, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference. It's just the behaviours that have been used on a promotion assessment framework. So why do they use competencies to select sergeants and inspectors and other ranks? Well, they do it because it's a reliable method. It's tried, tested and proven. It's not the best method, but it is a reliable method for organisations to use. And I'm just going to give you a quick reasoning why they do that. So the Keel Centre, who are share information on competencies, they say that the single best predictor of whether a person will demonstrate competency in a job in the future is whether that person has demonstrated that competency in the past. So that's where you start getting examples. Could you give us an example of when you have demonstrated leadership in the workplace or worked with other people? So you can start seeing that they'll then make an assessment of how you've behaved in the past in relation to that behaviour, that competency, and make a prediction on how you will behave or might behave in the future as a newly promoted sergeant or inspector. And whatever your personal feelings about that, you might say, well, that's rubbish, Steve. It may well be something that's not to your liking, but it is the system that is used. There are other ways of selecting promotion candidates. Some of those are being trialled, so strengths-based interviews, for example. But at the moment, bringing the focus back to competencies, think of them as behaviours. It's easier, but just understand that competencies can be called knowledge, attributes, skills, personal qualities, etc. Competencies are the meat in the sandwich, really. You really do need to get stuck into them, and one of the easiest ways to do that is to look at what evidence you've got for the promotion process and to align yourself to each competency and say, well, look, when have I demonstrated that particular behaviour in the workplace? And you only need 6. Once you've started that and you've got an idea of what you've got to offer, you can start working with the evidence that you've got. Put it into a story, laying it out into an application, or preparing for an interview. Okay, so it's a short video on competencies. If you want to find out a lot more about that, you want to see some detailed examples against those for sergeant or inspector, then you can download a digital promotion toolkit. You can come on a masterclass where we talk a little bit more about these and explain a little bit more about this issue of competencies or behaviours. Or you can subscribe on YouTube to, if you like these videos, or follow me on social media, which is Facebook Rank Success, or Twitter @rank_success. I look forward to speaking to you on the next video. Until then, goodbye.